yourselves welcome to day one. We can now call you St Greg's guests.
On behalf of the College Headmaster, Mr Miller, I'd like to welcome you to the 2019 Enrolment Information Evening. My name is Mitchell Kelly and I'm the Year 12 College Captain and also a boarder of the college. I would like to begin this evening with the acknowledgement of country. We pause to remember the uniqueness of this place. We honour and respect the generations of the Tharawal people who held this land in their dreaming. With the prayer. Let us pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lord, we gather this evening as teachers and parents, making decisions for the young people in our care. May our discussions be marked with wisdom and compassion, understanding together in gentleness and simplicity as a family, which is the Marist way. Samash and Pena, Mary, our good mother, in the name of the Father, Son. 2018 begins an exciting new chapter in the St Gregory's College history. I will now invite the College Headmaster, Mr Miller, to address the gathering.
Thanks, Mitchell. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We put out these chairs for tomorrow night, actually, for the Year 7 information night, and for Year 7 we take in 190 boys. So the fact that we have so many here, and we know we've only got 50 coming into the 2 kindergartens next year, we're very appreciative for the fact that so many have come out tonight to see what we've got to offer. Just to give you some background on what's happening tonight, we've obviously got Mr Weeks here. He's the head of the junior school. We also have Mrs Ivanchik, who is the junior school coordinator. You've already met Mitchell Kelly. As he said, Mitchell's the college captain. He's a boarder from Wagga. And we also have Mrs Stott here, and she is our enrolment registrar and my PA as well. And up in our tech box up there, we've got Mr Bissett, who looks after all my sound, and hopefully it works all night for me. I'm sure it will. But I want to thank those people for coming out tonight, because that helps to get these nights underway. Just to give you a bit of background to the college and the history of what we've done with the junior school, St Greg's is 93 years old. And this is the historic year from the point of view, it's the first year we've had a K-6 junior school associated with the college. And then add further to that, we also have the co-ed element in it as well. Going ahead with that, the co-ed is only going up to Year 6. At that stage, the girls will have to go to St Pat's, or they can go back to St Benedict's, or Mount Carmel, John Terry or Magdalen. I've spoken to the CEO about that, Catholic Education Office, just to establish those lines of enrolment for the girls, because I didn't want the girls missing out on anything. One of the things you will find here is that we will offer the enrolments and we'll have closing dates earlier than the other schools. And one of the reasons for that is that with the CEO schools, I don't think they let you know until the end of the second term whether people have been accepted or not. And I think if we can organise that a lot quicker, and if we can't take everyone, at least we can give people notification very early so they can do something about trying to go to one of the CEO schools. Just on enrolment, when I look at what we've done in the junior school over there, we started this 2 years ago, and we employed Mr Weeks, who we advertised across Australia, and we imported him from Queensland. He's actually a Sydney boy and come back home for us though. But we were very lucky to get him because of the experience he's had and the places he's been to, so we thought it was very good to work for us. Also at the same time, we organised the architect to do the building. And our building, we're only looking at a 2-stream school, so at the moment we have 2 kindergartens, a 1st through to 6th, and that's 1 stream. Next year we will do another building project, and we'll make sure it is a two-stream school then through to Year 6. So although for 2019 it's just 2 kindergartens, but for 2020 it'll be 2 kindergartens, then Year 2 through to Year 6, so there'll be a second class in each one, so it'll be a big enrolment intake again. After that, the plans, we'll look at where we're going as far as finances go and see how the school is going. When we set up the junior school, as I said, got Mr Weeks in 12 months early, so it gave him a great time to be able to set up what we were looking for. And we wanted to offer an experience in the junior school the same as the boys get on this side of the road as well. So when I'm talking about that, yes, the 9 to 3, the education, but also the extra opportunities that come outside of that as well. A good example of that was they had their first swimming carnival the other day, and talking to some of the young girls and boys, when I said to them, how was the pool? They said it was wonderful. Then they reinforced to me it was their pool. And I thought, okay, we're really owning this. So the culture is definitely going across. Another good thing that I found was that when the boys come into Year 7, usually I hear from the parents, look, I couldn't get him out of bed. He was over primary school. He just wanted to get to Year 7. Now he's up at 6 a.m. and he's in his uniform and he races home to do his homework. I've heard the same stories coming from the junior school parents, where they're telling me boys in Year 4 and 5 and some of the girls weren't prepared to get out of bed when they were at the other primary school, and they had to chase them over homework and all this sort of thing. And yet I'm hearing these boys and girls are getting out of bed at 6 a.m. in the morning, just wanting to get to school as quick as they can, and then also racing home to do the homework as well. So if that culture has flowed down that far, I think we're doing okay, and bringing that culture through as well. For those who know something about the Maris brothers, it's the Maris brothers tradition we have here at the college. The brothers started it, and that's what we're trying to encourage, their spirit to come through. And one of the things they do is we do a song called the Sub Tuum. It's Latin, and the boys learn it, and the boys on this side of the road know it very well. They sing it at church, and they sing it very reverently. They also do a different version of it, same wording, but when we win football games, they tend to use it again, and it's a bit different to what you'd hear in the church. But we wanted the younger students to pick up on that as well. And Mr Weeks has just shown me a video where they had singing practice today, and we weren't sure the younger students were going to be able to pick up on the Latin. They may not know what it means, but they are actually singing the Sub Tuum and singing it very well from what I saw in that video today. So when I talk about the culture of St Greg's, we're trying to get that embedded from K through to Year 12. The other side of it, how we've done that, is we advertised last year for teachers for the college. We got over 94 applications, and we took what we considered to be the best 8 people. And what we were looking for in those people were people who were dedicated, prepared to put the hours in, go the extra mile, knew what they were doing in the classroom as well, and engender a sense of passion out there so that the boys and girls just can't wait to get to school. And when I take the random survey, I'm finding that the boys and girls are very keen to get here. When I go over there of a morning, Tuesday morning, I specialise in getting there, and it's always great to see the fact that there are so many boys and girls there. They seem to be mixing with each other fairly well, and they seem very happy to be there. And I think that's important for us, because what we want to have in an education here at St Greg's, that girls and boys can come here, be confident, be happy, and feel very safe when they're here. And we sort of try the best of our ability to make sure that happens. So when I'm looking from K to 12, that's what we're looking for. That's where we're at with it at the moment. But I would reinforce to you again that a lot of people who came on Sunday, we were overwhelmed by the numbers. We just didn't expect that. Now, I know some of them weren't kindergarten. They were Year 3, 4, 5, all coming along saying, can't you move the walls? Because my son is ready to come, or my daughter is ready to come. And we've got to disappoint them and say, sorry, you know what the cap is in each one of those classes, and it is not going to change. Now, it is the same with kindergarten. Next year, we will have 2 kindergartens, and they're both 26s. 25, sorry, that's why he's the head of the junior school. So they're both 25s, and we cannot go past that line. That is as far as it can go. Joel will explain to you about the enrolments procedures, and if you've got any questions about those, you can talk to Kate down the back after it as well. But once again, from my point of view, it's about establishing Greg's and a culture from K to 12 that they all buy into, and we try and give them the same options on that side of the road that they're getting over here. And if that's a mixture of, say, Mitch going over and joining them and showing the boys and girls over there, this is what the college captain does, those sort of things we're doing. We've already done it with the Ash Wednesday ceremony. They came over and did it. Mitchell went over with another boy and did the Year 6 Ash Wednesday with Year 6 and 5, and he would say that took him out of his zone of comfort, you might say. Whereas there were two others who went to kindergarten at first class, and they had to sing a song with the first class children and do all sorts of hand actions. Now, one of those boys was my cricket captain. He was totally out of his depth and just wanted to get to Saturday cricket. But it's about getting them involved in the place, and that's what we're trying to do. So I hope I've explained to you what the culture is about St Greg's, and I'll hand over to Mr Weeks because he'll give you a much more in-depth version of what the junior school is all about. So thank you.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming along. I know, as a father myself, how busy life gets from week to week, so it's great to have you all here coming out to find out a little bit about our junior school. So this evening, or for the rest of this evening, both myself and Mrs Ivanchich will paint the picture of where we are as a junior school, what we're all about, and then we'll talk a little bit about the enrolment process also, and talk about timelines and where we're at in terms of enrolling for the junior school. A few weeks ago when our staff started, I started the year showing this picture. It's a picture of April 28 last year where Damien and I were sitting up on the hill up near the boarding house, and we were actually looking down at our site. It was April 28, and it's, for those of you who come on Sunday to actually see the site, it's actually quite amazing to what the builders did in such a short time frame. Not only do we have some lovely facilities, beautiful grounds, but now we've got these little guys. Lovely little kindergarten kids. We've got kids participating in swimming carnival. We've got kids singing Sub Tuum, and having dance competitions, art clubs that are going on in the afternoon. It was a fantastic experience to be here last year and actually see the whole college in action. But having kids now as a part of our college, walking in the door and actually feeling a part of the school is what this has all been about. So it's actually quite exciting. Our purpose is to provide and promote a holistic education. It's not just about the academics like Damien said, it's not just about the sports, that whole picture, that whole child. Having Mitch here tonight representing the high school, it's about what that college graduate looks like. And if we can get the St Greg's culture coming down to the primary school and seeing kids going from kindergarten to Year 6 for the girls and kindergarten to Year 12 for the boys, having that child that is a Maris flavour, that can stand up and talk for themselves and be confident in who they are, that's what we're really after. The religious life of the school is a big part of who we are as a Maris school and as St Greg's. And there's a few things that make up us as a religious education school. We are not a CEO school, but we align with the CEO in terms of our religious education program. So the teaching staff will deliver the RE program that the Wollongong Diocese provide. The kids will go to Mass every fortnight. So up in the college, up here in the high school, there's a college chapel, and our little guys will come across here fortnightly, and Father Cattrall, who is based at Oran Park, at Mary MacKillop, sorry, I had a brain freeze there, at Mary MacKillop Parish in Oran Park, he'll run our Mass. So he comes up here fortnightly of a Wednesday, and we have Mass together. So our next one's tomorrow morning. It is also a parish Mass, so those who want to come up from the local community and actually join us in our Mass are also welcome, so 9 o'clock on a Wednesday. And the other one is our sacramental program. We will have a lot of families that go through St Justin's and through Mary MacKillop across the back there. We've also got families that are in different parishes, whether it's St Paul's in Camden, St John's in Campbelltown, where they'll run their sacramental program through their parish, which is also fine. The students will learn about the sacraments in our classes, and then they can enact them when they head to church for a weekend. We're a Maris school, and the 5 pillars, which are in the black writing there, so we've got our presence, simplicity, family spirit, love of work, and in the way of Mary. It's not up, sorry guys. They're the pillars that you'll see in every Maris school. They're the pillars that actually go through the high school. And they're what we want our kindergarten students, right through to our Year 6 students, right through again to our Year 12 students to know and be. The words in the yellow, they're our values. The values that we think, and we've actually brainstormed as a staff, as a junior school staff, to actually get the young children to actually understand what these Marist values are all about. So words like respect, communication, okay, they build a picture of what presence is all about. If you are present, you are listening, you're communicating quite well. If you're present, you're respectful to those around you. So for us, instilling those values in our children is what we consider to be quite important. Being a new school, obviously we're not just turning up expecting that things are all going to be hunky-dory, everything's going to be all well and good. We plan for it. And as a staff, we've come together with 4 what we call high leverage strategies, or our goals for the year. I'm going to keep it simple. So in 2018, our first goal was all about standards. Okay? Coming to the high school, there are high standards. Damien and the team up in the high school have very high standards of behaviour, the way kids talk, the way the kids dress themselves, the way they enact, the way they are in the classrooms. Exactly the same in the primary school. High standards of behaviour and diligence. Our next one is communication, the way we communicate with parents. And I know we've got a few parents in the room right now who are already part of our school, and hopefully they can testify that our communication home has been quite good. Okay, we want parents knowing exactly what's going on in the classroom. We want parents knowing the different events that are coming up. We want them to be a part of our community. Not only what's happening in terms of events, but what learning is actually taking place in the classroom. Our third is relationships. For those of you who have ever had a child that is unhappy at school, they don't learn. For us, it's about having a school and establishing a school where kids are happy. If kids are happy, they're going to learn. If kids are surrounded by teachers who are engaged and diligent and passionate, they're going to want to learn. So for us, it's a good combination of making sure that we had the right staff, a staff that are wanting to be here for the right reasons, and then having those relationships with students actually going to get the most of them. And our fourth is all about literacy. We all know how important literacy in society, and for us, getting a rigorous literacy program early on is really important. So already this year we've established writing groups, writing workshops, which happen every Tuesday morning, where our stage 2 and 3 kids, so our kids from Year 3 right through to Year 6, have a writing workshop where numerous teachers come into a room, we differentiate the kids, and we're hitting them at their point in need in terms of writing. We're developing a scope and sequence for spelling already. We're getting consultants coming in, working with us as a staff to actually ensure that we've got a rigorous spelling program. So literacy for us and getting practices in place early on is really important, because we know how important literacy is for us and for students as they grow older. Now, for us, and I'll get Deanna to come and talk a little bit about curriculum shortly, establishing a detailed curriculum plan for us is really important. So I just lost my place there. I spoke before about a holistic approach. For us, it's not just about what happens in that classroom, it's about developing a whole range of activities that's actually going to develop that whole child. We've got a quite extensive co-curricular program that we've actually established in the primary school, and I'll talk about that in a moment. We have a clear philosophy around a good balance between inquiry-based pedagogy, or inquiry-based teaching, and making sure that explicit teaching is happening, making sure that your children are actually learning the basics, and getting that balance right. For us, as I said, literacy and numeracy is going to be our centrepiece for this year, and establishing a Marist foundation. As Damien spoke about, making sure our Marist qualities, our Marist values, our Marist culture permeates through kindergarten right through to Year 12. This is a favourite quote of mine. I did share it with some of the parents last year. It's from Ernest Boyer. He says, "To be truly educated, a student must also make connections across the disciplines, discover ways to integrate the separate subjects, and ultimately relate to what they learn in life." And ultimately, that's what we're trying to do as a staff. Establish, yes, there are curriculum areas, yes, there are defined subject areas, but we want kids to be learning in real life situations. understand that what they're learning is meaningful and actually means something. So for us, establishing a staff that are on board with that sort of philosophy is what we actually looked at when we employed our 8 initial teachers. Co-curricular opportunities, like I was mentioning. IPSO is our Independent Primary Schools Association. Our young boys and girls are a part of our IPSO sport competition. Macarthur Anglican, Broughton, Wallandilly Anglican. There's about 6 or 7 different schools in our local area, and we'll go and compete on a regular basis on a Wednesday afternoon against the local independent schools. So those children who are very passionate about sport and love the competition side of things get to go away and actually compete. Those who don't will do house sport. House sport is also a fantastic option to learn the skills about what sport's all about, to stay at school, but to use all the college facilities as well while they do that. We've got dance up and running. Mr. Fuser, who's our Year 4 teacher, was also a very talented man in terms of dance. He runs our dance school. I was just sharing with Mr. Miller a little while ago our first couple of sessions of dance that we've had this week, and the kids are actually loving it. We have chess, debating, art club, a kids club, with kids that want to get off the playground, need to learn how to socialise quite well, will come with Miss Hillhouse, who's here tonight, to actually join in and teaching them social skills. Public speaking, we've got Bandemonium coming in once a week, where kids will be either, if those who are interested in a band, go into a training band or a concert band. And like most schools, we've got a choir, kids who are passionate about singing. I'm going to leave it there, and I will pop back shortly to talk about enrolment, but I will leave it there for the moment. Once again, thank you for coming tonight. We will talk about the enrolment process as we go through, and I invite Mitchell back to the stage.
Thanks, Mr. Weeks. Mrs. Avancic is our junior school coordinator, and I warmly welcome her to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. I'm the junior school coordinator, but I'm also the Year 5 teacher at the school, and it was interesting thinking back just on Monday when I mentioned to the students that we'd been there for 3 weeks, and they said, 3 weeks? We feel like we've been here for ages. And it does feel like that. We feel like that we have found a home there, and we've really established our school. So we're very excited to have you here tonight to share some of that with you. A little bit about the key learning areas. So based on the academic program that we have, our NESA program, we have religious education, English, and within English our reading, writing, speaking and listening program, mathematics, all the concepts in mathematics, science, which includes technology as well, history and geography, personal development, health, sport, and also the creative arts. So through the curriculum in class, but also through co-curricular, we can address dance, music, drama, and so on. Within our literacy learning, which is obviously our big focus this year, we have a very systematic approach so that all our teachers are very aware that there is that balance between explicit teaching and the inquiry approach. So we ensure that all our programs meet these criteria, that we have modelled reading to the children, so teachers are demonstrating good practice. We also have a non-negotiable of reading every night, and that is K to 6, and that's mentioned to our parents at the information evening. We tell the children it's a non-negotiable. Even if you go home and tell mum and dad there's no homework that night, reading is always a non-negotiable. It must happen every night. We also have shared reading in the classroom, where we're working on deconstructing texts, looking at jointly constructing, so through our writing program as well, making sure that children understand that structure and the language features of all our texts and our reading material, guided reading, so that we're listening to children read, that we're ensuring we know what level they are at, and so that we're able to cater for their needs and help them to progress, and independent reading. So that's part of our relationship between home and school, where the children are encouraged to and expected to be reading each night, and also through some opportunities in class time as well. The structure of our day. Our day starts at 8:30 and we finish at 3 p.m. We have the same breaks as the secondary, but our times are up there, where we have 2 breaks. We have a 30-minute first break, and we tend to call it break 1 and break 2 because we know that children have come from different schools where some of them were eating their big lunch first because they were really hungry at that time, and their morning tea after. So we don't stipulate which one they have to have. They can just eat whatever they like, whenever they like. But in that big 2-hour block that we have in the morning, we stop for a little munch and crunch break, so that just to keep their stamina going, they just pull out a piece of fruit, some carrot sticks or something like that. And often it could just be during story time, it could be while they're actually doing their work. Literacy and numeracy is our non-negotiable, I guess, in that first 2-hour block. So we keep that first 2 hours of the day as uninterrupted as possible. We don't timetable anything else in there, so that we ensure that while the children are fresh and they're ready to and keen to learn, that literacy and numeracy is what we address in that time, so that we get the most out of the children. And that totals to our 5 hours of teaching time a day. So within that we have our sport, we have our maths once a fortnight, but we ensure that all that time is used as required by NESA. As far as technology goes, we are not a bring your own device school, so the children are not required to bring their own device, as many schools are. And we have pods of class sets of iPads as well as computers that are accessible to all children, so that every child has access to technology when it's required. So the way we see technology, the technology is there as a tool. It's something that is used to enhance the learning, something that is used to be of specific requirement for that lesson. It's not something they can pick up because we're doing spelling and they've got to find definitions, so they decide to Google the word. We have dictionaries, and you know, there's time for an iPad. I know, dictionaries, they're new thing. They actually have to flip the pages, so rather than slide. But it's there as a tool so that they know that they're using that technology for a purpose, and the teachers are also using them purposefully. If we move on to the next one, thank you. As Mr. Weeks said, communication is very key, and I think if you speak to any of our parents who are currently with us, I think they would probably agree that's something we are very, very good at the moment, where we are very open, whether we are available on the playground. You'll always find most of the staff either there in the morning out on the playground, there in the afternoon. They are approachable, the doors are open, and if parents need to contact us through the office, through email, that is something that we welcome. We also have a school diary which is used from K to 6. So our kindergartens have the same diary as our Year 6 students, and that is a really important communication tool for us, because it's a really simple way that our parents can communicate with us and vice versa. So rather than sending little notes, the diaries must be on the children's desks every morning. So if they open them and we can walk past and notice there's a note there from mum or dad that they forgot to give us, it's there and we can either sign or reply to the parents, so that we know that we've seen it. And I think the great thing is that the children know that we are in direct connection as well, that parents and the teachers are communicating. It's also, our diary's there also as a merit or award system, so that when the children are awarded during the day with a merit, they can go home and share that with mum or dad. And it's not just a little sticker that was, you know, put on their collar that fell off on the way home. So the diaries have been something I think that are a really great communication tool. We have a parent forums that will be held for K to 2 and 3 to 4. They will be held every term. And we don't have a P&F. We have a parent forum, so that will be open for everyone to come along to. Mr. Miller, Mr. Weeks will be there. You'll get information about that, and that's a time when you can come along and hear what's been happening in the college, and also ask questions. Our USH zone, so that's our before and after school care. So that's available from 6:30 in the morning to 8 a.m, and then they move across to the school. It is on the school premises, but they come and join the rest of the students, and then from 3:30 to 6:30. So they're always available there, very well equipped, and there's lots of students who are already taking on USH as part of their day. The learning environment, very flexible learning. So we have, if those of you who came to visit the school, we have all of the lovely new furniture, and we use that in different ways so that we can open the doors. For example, today we had our singing practice, so we opened up the doors and were able to fit all the school into 2 of the classrooms. Or if we want to open the stages up to do art together, we've got the breakout rooms. So there's lots of different ways that we can use our facilities. And also, we're very transparent in our approach, is something that we thought was important to mention. So we've got glass everywhere, you can pretty much see in there, and parents are always very welcome to come and speak to us about our programs, about what's happening in the classroom, and also for the children to share that with home. So Seesaw is an app that we use in the school, and that will be used across the school, where the students and the teacher can communicate with the parents and the grandparents in some instances, where they might want to send photos of what they did or some activities that they did with their group and their peers. And it's a way that we can keep in touch, especially with those mums or dads who are working and don't have time to come up to the school. It's our way of sort of bringing you into our classroom. So that's something that we have introduced this year. We welcome parent involvement. As Mr. Miller said at the swimming carnival the other day, we had lots of parents down there who were judging and timekeeping and just being of support. And we welcome that. There'll be opportunities for parents to work in classrooms, for reading. We've got some lovely mums who are even just there for a couple of hours a day who are helping us with contacting books, because you can imagine, new school, we've got lots of books, little things like that, all help to build our community and our family. So we're very appreciative of that and welcome that at any time. So hopefully that's given you a little bit of an insight into our day. So thank you. I'll pass you back to Mitch.
Okay, enrolments is what many of you want to know about, and how to take the next step. And we want to help you on the journey. As you're making your decision about schools, we're here to talk to you about them. We've got Kate Stott here, who's at the back of the hall here, our enrolments officer here, who'll be around as well if you have any questions. Her details will be up shortly as well to talk about. But I want to talk about the enrolment process. So tonight is, I suppose, the first step. We can come along tonight, you can pick up an enrolment pack at the back shortly with Kate. And then for those of you who are interested in pursuing this application, you hand the enrolment application back to the college. Okay. They'll also be online. So for those of you who want an online version, they can get an online version of the enrolment forms and send them through that way to Kate. You've got about a month to apply. Okay, you've got about a month to get the paperwork in, fill out the forms and hand them back. Okay. As Damien said before, we've got 50 positions. Okay, we've got 2 lots of 25, 2 classes of kindy, and there will be an enrolment criteria that will be in the packs that you get tonight. My suggestion to you is to put it in. Put it in. If you don't put it in, there's no position for you. I spoke to a lady last year. We put up the enrolment criteria. I haven't put the enrolment criteria up here tonight. I had a lady last year who was from a Campbelltown side of things, and she said to me, I'm not going to get it, I'm not going to worry about it. I said, well, if you don't put it in, you won't get a position. Her friend who lived down the road put it in, she got a position, kicked herself that she didn't put it in. When she came back to me and said, hey, look, I want to put it in now, it was too late. So if you're interested in joining St Greg's next year in the junior school, put your application in. That's all you can do. After a month, we've got a little process there where we get you in as a family for an interview. Okay, it's not a formal interview, but you need to bring the child along, you need to bring your son or your daughter along. It's a bit of a get to know you activity. So you'll be interviewed by either myself or Mrs. Ivancic, and we get to know you as a family and just get to know your child, how they learn, what they like, what they're into, and talk about the next steps in our enrolment process. We will have an induction program later in the year for those who have a position at the junior school. Later in term 3, start of term 4, there'll be a few afternoons where your son or your daughter will be able to come along and spend some time with the kindergarten teachers, doing some art activities, some constructive play, some maths activities, hands-on sort of activities to get to know your child and how they learn. Then there'll be another day later in term 4 where kindergarten kids of 2019 will come in for a more extended period. So we're looking at more of a 2 or 3 hour period where we'll bring all the kindergarten kids in together, watch them learn, have some activities before we actually separate them, and after we've found out who's who, which classes they'll go into for the following year. Okay. Acceptances come back by the 11th of May, and then after that we'll get information about the following 2019 group. So there'll be some information evenings and things that will happen later this year in preparation for 2019. In terms of the criteria, when you pick up your enrolment pack tonight, there is a criteria, but as I said to you, we pledge that you actually put the enrolment pack in. Don't put it in, there's no positions. In terms of your documentation that you hand back, if it's online and you're scanning it through to Kate, can you make sure that everything gets scanned? Otherwise, we have to actually go back to you and try and find out where all those different pieces of paper are. Some people like to put them in nice, lovely folders. What happens with your enrolment papers after they come in, we actually take it all apart and put it into a manila folder anyway. So keep all the lovely folders to yourselves. We'll just put it into a loose leaf folder or just give it a staple and hand it in. We have to send back incomplete paperwork, so just ensure that it's all there. It is quite self-explanatory when you get the paperwork tonight. And there is a closing date, as we said before, of the 16th of March. If your child gets a first round interview, they'll be from the 3rd of April, okay, and depending on how long that will go for. They go for about 15 minutes or so, but in terms of the process, us getting through the 50 or so interviews, that's when the offers will go out after that. If there are families that decline the offer, which does happen, as I'm sure you're aware, some families are looking at different schools as well. If they decline the offer, then we'll go to a second round interview and start looking at the next lots of students. Okay. In terms of applicants, by the 13th of April, you'll know what's going on. Okay. As Damien said earlier, we don't want to draw this process out. We want you to find out who has a position and who doesn't, so you can actually make an informed decision about where your son or daughter are going next year. There is a $500 confirmation fee, and that is non-refundable, and that goes through our finance department. That confirms your position for 2019. In terms of questions, I know many of you may have questions about the enrolment process. After you've read through the paperwork tonight, after you've got your information pack and you've had a look through it, please let Kate know. All her details are in the pack, but they're all up there as well. Feel free to ask us any questions you like. I'll be floating around tonight. If you have any personal questions you want to ask, feel free to come and ask. Deanna will be here. We've got Damien and Kate up the back as well. But once again, thank you very much for coming tonight. Hopefully we've given you a bit of a snapshot into what St Greg's is all about, where we're headed as a school, and as you get your pack, as I said, any questions you have, please let us know. Once again, thank you for coming tonight, and we'll leave it there. So thank you very much.